Hey, everybody, and what a fortnight it's been.
I know, I can't believe that it's been 2 weeks since we've been here.
I know.
I've missed you.
I've missed you too.
Although
We're back, though. We're back, and we've got a show for you today.
We do. Actually, in that 2 weeks, I did see you because you put me through a little bit of a thing
That's right.
called a fitness assessment. We're going to talk about that. It was hard.
That was pretty much the face I saw during the whole thing, although
This was the face.
But
It looked
you
like I
did
was doing a big number 2.
You did really well.
Thanks.
You know, and I did say to you, the main thing is that you persisted with it. You didn't give up.
I appreciated that too. And you made
Yeah.
a special phone call to tell me that
I
after.
did.
Because you didn't think to tell me at the time when I probably really needed it.
You didn't look like you were going to take another thing in.
So, yes, we're going to talk about that. And yeah, I'm interested to see, you know, kind of on the scale of how crap to how good where I sat.
Yeah, I think the fitness assessment, it's good. It sort of makes you think about where your fitness is at and exposes, several weaknesses. I know that sounds negative, but it's not, because I think they're the things then you draw on to.
I'm okay with negative. I think negative is just being real. I'm
Yeah.
all about being real.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
we'll do that.
People get a bit hung up on it, and they think it's about failure. It's not about
No.
success or failure.
It's about where you can improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for that. And also Bec Hare is on the show.
Yes.
And Bec, we have been dangling like a little fitness carrot. But
She is, but she is super fit, actually.
she's
say.
mega
Yeah.
fit.
Yeah.
And also very knowledgeable because she knows all about things that I get a little confused about, like macros.
Yeah. I think some of those things are really difficult for people to understand, and also become so complicated that people just think, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with Bec, we're going to have her on a little bit. She's got so much knowledge that we're going to break it down and talk about some different topics. But today we're definitely going to cover macros, why they're different for everybody, and why you probably need to see someone who knows all about that and not go out there trying to do it yourself.
No, not at all. And, there's danger in doing that as well. I think that, the calories, the macros, that sort of thing, it can become obsessive for some and just too hard for others.
Absolutely. All right, so that is coming up, but stick around because we're about to reveal how unfit I truly am. So, this fitness assessment, let's chat about it.
Let's.
A fitness assessment or a fitness test? Because it felt like a test.
We don't like the word test.
I hate the word test.
I hate the word test.
Everybody hates the word test.
Yeah.
So let's call it an assessment.
Well, that's what it is.
All right, it's an assessment. So I'm assuming you assessed me.
I did.
We did some pretty severe things, I felt.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe not in your world, Jules, but in mine they were pretty severe. Let's start with the first activity, the treadmill.
yes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes on the treadmill. I'm not quite sure why you kept upping the speed because I felt like I had a pretty good cadence going.
On level 1 and 2, we try and push the envelope a little more than that. Yeah.
Right, which you did. You pushed it.
So, yes, we pop you on there. Obviously, get your heart rate up a bit.
That's just to warm me up.
blood moving and see whether you're going to pass out.
Yeah, and I made it through that, so big tick for that.
You did.
Made it
And,
through.
yeah, you're able to talk to me the whole time.
Absolutely.
And that's a thing. We do what's called a talk test.
Oh, you were talking to me on purpose.
On purpose. I love talking to you. But that was on purpose, yes.
Right, okay. And then after the treadmill, what did we do?
After the treadmill, I think we moved to one of my favourites, which is a squat depth test.
That was not one of my favourites.
No, and actually it's quite a difficult move for most people. in actual
Really
fact.
difficult because you were telling me go further down, go further down.
Yeah, well, this is it's judged. I mean, it's we won't go into the the whole assessment of that movement at the moment, but you have to hit a certain level in the test. The depth of squat, maintaining an upright position to have them counted as one.
So what'd you do? Just skip a heap when I didn't do it right?
Well, yes, we didn't count those. We did many in 2 minutes, so it's timed in 2 minutes.
How many did I do?
We did many,
Many.
but we didn't count them. I think we probably got 4.
All right, so some improvement to be made. That's what you're saying.
But you know what? You were there and you were doing it.
I was doing it.
Yeah.
And then after that?
After that, we did some pull-ups. Yeah, on a machine assisted.
Called?
Well, they in some gyms they're called gravitrons. So
which just always instantly takes me back to the Melbourne show, and you've just had a hot dog and you're spinning around going, that was a mistake. And
some people feel exactly like that when they get off the gravitron, actually.
And that's what I was going to say. I kind of had that same regret when
they feel a little bit because it's up quite high, isn't it? You have to step onto it,
and it's sort of really crazy. And you got to pull yourself up. And Jules was like, use your scapula, your back, your stuff.
So it's I think it's one of the pieces of equipment in the gym that's misused perhaps. It's not used very well by most people. So
and you didn't give me the instructions on how to get off it. That's what I found.
We're a little bit gung ho, and Andrea decided to
dismount quickly.
Jump ship pretty quickly. Before I could say to her, before you get off, make sure you ease your way off so that it doesn't throw you through the roof.
And instead, did it the other way.
Yeah, almost a somersault.
All right, so that was to assess what?
You actually did very well there.
Yeah, what did that assess?
So we were focused there on a parallel grip pull-up. So that was focused on your back.
Right.
And back strength. So, again, the importance of form. So we went through all that first, other than the dismount. And you did actually quite well there.
Yeah. Oh, good. So I'm pretty strong.
You are strong.
Yeah. Maybe not fit, but strong. After that, we did
something that's a little bit difficult, actually. We did an RDL with dumbbells. So we looked at the form first.
What does RDL stand for? And it's not a cheap drink that you buy at the bottle-o. It's got a different meaning.
That's UDL, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry.
RDL, so Romanian deadlift. So we did a deadlift.
Were the Romanians good at lifting dead?
Obviously.
They had to lift a lot of dead people.
Thank you.
They did a lot of slaying.
Boom, boom.
Righto.
So went through that, and then we went to push-ups, a favourite. So we did knee push-ups. Yes, did knee push-ups.
And I said I was strong until you got me to do a push-up.
Yeah, it's tricky, and most people really think they're going to face plant doing that. But
and the sad thing was, I used to be able, that's the thing. I used to be able to do some. I was
all
right. Now I'm terrible.
It is a specific type of movement, and you obviously, if you train specifically for that, you can get better. But it does show whether you are weak in the upper body very well, which is why we look at it as well. It's a compound exercise, and focuses on not only upper body but your core. When done properly, and it does expose a lot of weaknesses. Yeah.
But you said I was all right at the old plank, eh?
You did well in the plank, yes. You maintained your position predominantly.
That's a positive.
It is.
Yeah.
Do you want me to say?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So I think it was about 2 minutes. We were going for a maximum of 2 minutes, and Andrea did get a respectable 42 seconds.
Oh, that's not 2 minutes.
Some people struggle to do that, so I think that's
pat on the back.
Yes,
a planking back. After the plank,
then we did another favourite of mine, dead ball slams.
I actually like this.
They are pretty active. These done properly, so it's cardiovascular fitness as well as strength involved there. And I must say, by this time you were pretty tired, but you really did not give up.
Slammed it.
Yeah. I gave you some encouraging words, and you hooked right into it. So I'm pretty impressed.
In my mind, I'd picked Julie up and I'd slammed her on the ground.
That's right. That's right. Again, we're going for, I think, 2 minutes. You're working with a 3 kilogram ball, and I think you got 21 there.
21.
Yeah.
Respectable. And then after that, is that when I went and did the rowing?
Yep, 250 metres of rowing.
That was a long way, 250 metres.
Just
saying.
It does feel like it after you've done a fitness assessment. Yeah, it's all part of and at the end of a fitness assessment. So,
and fair to say, I felt like I was going to puke by that point.
You did mention that a couple of times.
Yeah. I did. I had that little bit of reflux going on.
Yeah, but you didn't.
I didn't.
Which is good.
I walked out of there as wobbly as I was. And the funny thing was, I had parked just next to a gutter. So to get to my car, I had to step down that gutter, and I wasn't quite sure my leg was going to actually hold me when I took the step. It was a bit wobbly.
Yeah.
And the car I was driving was my little pride and joy, my 1996 Toyota Celica, and she's manual. And my little leggies were like, oh no, second gear. Oh no, third gear.
Clutch. Yeah, no, I think, look, overall, as I said, it's a bit of a daunting thing coming in to do an assessment, and I take my hat off to you. You know, you approached everything. You didn't complain. You got into it. I could see that you were, you were tired, even halfway through, but you never gave up. And as a personal trainer, that is, and fitness coach, that is exactly what you want of your client, that, you know, you can see that they're pushing themselves without being, ridiculous, and really giving it a go. Because for me, that shows that you are going to commit to what we're doing, take it seriously, and that's where you're going to get your improvement. So we'll come back at a later stage in a number of weeks or months and do this assessment again, and have a look at the comparison.
And I'll get better numbers.
Well, one would hope.
And that was the thing. And in all seriousness, jokes aside for a moment, I remember walking out and saying to you, and you don't even remember this, and I thought it was very poignant. I thought it was memorable. I said, as hard as that was, what it did do was tell me, right, I know I need to do that better. And it gave me a little inspo to be like, hey, I should be able to do push-ups. I should be able to do some of these things. 250 meters on a rower, I should be able to do that.
And I think that's a really the mindset there is another pat on the back to you, which is if you've got that mindset to go, hey, that kind of kicked my ass, but I want to do that better. I remember when I could do that, so I'm going to attack it. You can either be defeatist about it, or you can use it as motivation to go, right, I want to improve that upper body, core, lower body strength, whatever it is, or all of them, hopefully, and use that as motivation to get back in there and have a go. And I think that approach, not only to the gym, but to life, is really important.
So true. Like, you can just give up, or you can go, look, I'm going to take that as some data that I'm going to use, or data if you're American. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to turn it into something. Whether it, be the inspiration to get better or to change paths or do whatever, but always take it on and try and do something else.
Absolutely. And, I say to my children all the time, you have choices in life, and sometimes they are really difficult, and sometimes life is kicking you in the ass. You have a choice to, roll over and play dead, so to speak, or to go, no, I'm going to change that. I'm going to, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to settle for that, whatever it is, and say, I have a choice here. I have a choice to do it. It's not always the choice you want to make, and it's not always easy, but you do have a choice.
I love that, because that's a lot how I tackle some of the things in my life. Like, I do commercial radio. That's really nerve-wracking. Public speaking is like up there above
scary.
Death to some people. Like,
it is, for some people.
Judgment, like your fear of judgment. And
especially nowadays with social media, where people can, that's right, they can give instant feedback, good or bad.
Absolutely. Thankfully, I've not had anything negative happen to me. Please, no one get on there and troll me for fun. But, when you take on something like that, it's nerve-wracking, it's scary, it's safest to just say, I won't do that. But to say, all right, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway, regardless. And that's the same approach to fitness I'm going to try and take. It is scary. I'm worried I'm going to fail. I'm worried judgment. I'm worried about all those things, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I love that. And it's really important. As I said, I stress to my children all the time, you can sit back, you can do nothing. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's sometimes the easier choice, but to actively engage in something, that is where you get your wins in life, be it, physically in the gym, or just in your workplace, or.
Well, I look at you, Jules. You must have gone through some pretty shit scary sort of situations to get to where you went on a television show. You put yourself out there physically.
In a small amount of Lycra.
In a very small amount of
with what we called butt cam.
Butt cam.
You know what? But seriously, and we have talked a little bit about that before. The first episode and the first few, it was both. There
daunting.
was elation there. It was it was like, wow, this is amazing, but yeah, scary. And then it comes back to, and I think this goes across many areas of life where you go, I don't want to make a mistake now. I'm going to be exposed. And again, I bring in social media. There wasn't social media back there, but now you make a mistake, you look a bit tired, you say the wrong thing, and you don't mean to. You're really quite exposed.
Yeah, I was watching a social media post. Fifi Box, who was on Fox here in Melbourne, she was saying normally her space on social media is so positive, but she's looking great. She's lost a lot of weight. She's very fit. She's and things are coming out. People are starting to comment about that, and she doesn't want that to be part of her social media. She doesn't need to hear all that. And I think that's the thing. It's like if you start losing weight, people start to get a little conversational about it, it becomes a thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, or even there's an expectation of it that, she's on, and they kind of expect you to,
Yep.
you think of a lot of celebrities, and I'm sure there's just such a lot of pressure, of course, to do that,
And they say about supermodels, and I almost feel like I cut you off then, but supermodels have a lot of pressure on them as they age because they've been so beautiful, in their youth in the public eye. And as they get older, they put a lot of pressure on themselves. How about you? Like, you've come from a television background now. Do you feel like an extra pressure because people did see you when you were young? Everyone knew you when you were that bit younger. Is there a lot of pressure now?
To be honest, and whilst that was, the relative 15 minutes of fame, so to speak, there is. They have an expectation of you to look like that still, whether it be, face-wise, body-wise, most
But
definitely.
let's face it, you were judged on looks as well as your body and your strength.
Definitely.
There were, fans of your looks.
And I think you have that expectation on yourself too, and it's not always healthy. I was looking at something on social media today, in fact, and one of the girls off Sex in the City has just had all the fillers removed from her face. Oh. And she was saying, I only scanned the article, but she was saying that it was such pressure, obviously, to look good and to maintain that, even if she wasn't doing that show anymore, to turn up to red carpet events, and that she was, never particularly happy in the public eye. She didn't perhaps realise it, and now just feeling like she didn't have to uphold, that the whole look, that whole, I suppose, sexy, female. Ageless female as well. So I think that's very interesting, and there are a lot of pressures that are put upon us, and certainly I don't liken my story to anything in Hollywood, but what I will say is that when you're feeling like that, and I come back to this, and my children will moan and groan about hearing this, is that
because they are our audience, by the way, just your two kids.
That's right. There are choices, and that actress has made a choice to choose happiness for her over over the pressures of putting on that sexy sort of an ageless face.
And it's a brave thing to do.
However, in saying that too, I think there's fairness that some people that's not a pressure to them. That's what they want to do, and that's fair enough as well. Everyone again has that choice.
You all got choices.
But I think there's huge pressure on us to look a certain way. I really always encourage my clients to come back to how you're feeling. Yeah. And we talk about, weight, scales, measuring that, is important, but it's really about how you feel. If you look in the mirror and think, you know what, I actually feel better than I did a month ago, that's a great thing.
And I think that would overtake the fact that, your genes are feeling better and all that sort of stuff. I think it would overtake it. It'd be like, I'm looking great, but man, I feel great.
And feel confident. Yeah. You want to feel confident about yourself,
And strong. Yes. When you walk you get out of the car and, your knees sort of ache. And
indeed.
All that. You want to be able to sort of get out of the car and get going and not feel your body. And it always reminding you that you are failing it.
Absolutely. I think that is a really important thing, that to feel well, healthy each day, it comes down, to obviously all the things that we talk about here on the podcast. I do encourage people. I find that one of the things people complain about a lot to me, that they have headaches a lot. And it's a simple thing, I think, for obviously if you've got, something else going on. But we also talk about, hydration all the time. I find that one of the things that I wake up sometimes, I just don't feel great. I'm tired. I do push, I push the envelope a little bit with what I've got on in a day. And I find I get to the end of the day and I haven't had anything, to drink.
Because it's time. You've got to stop it. You've got to think. You've got to drink.
Yeah. And that comes into, and we'll talk about a lot of about this, about planning, for success as well. And that is as simple as making sure you've got some water with you, to a lot of other aspects in your life, and prioritising a few things too. Prioritise, having water. Prioritise exercise. Prioritise you at least once or twice during the day, even if it's for 30 minutes, As I think I've said before, if you can get on social media for 30 minutes, you can get on the health train for 30 minutes.
Yeah, and a lot of our conversations are, you know what I saw on TikTok today? Do you know what I saw?
I know.
You could have dropped and given me 20.
You're such a hypocrite, Julie.
But yeah, no, it's 100% correct.
And I know we've covered a lot there, and there's a lot to probably, delve into, but I bring it again back to making good, smart choices.
Yeah, and maybe, just hearing those words, because I always know when I hear people talking about something, I always take a lot out of it and I get inspired, and hopefully, when you've passed on some of the advice that you give to your kids and other things, it rings through people's minds and they might be excited to start something too.
Yeah, good. I hope so.
All right, so how about we have a chat to Bec Hare?
Yes.
Well, I am sitting here with two beauties now, not just the one. We have Bec Hare with us, and we've been promising Bec, because Bec, you have a background in nutrition, and this is important stuff, right? It's not just about the exercise. We also need to be concerned about what's going in here.
Yes,
absolutely,
Andrea.
So how about you tell everyone, Bec, how did you get into nutrition? What did you do? How did you become qualified?
Well, I did it through my own health and fitness journey. So to start off with, I was actually super overweight. I was binge eating. I was binge drinking. I was living a partying lifestyle. Wow. And I sort of had a hard look at myself and thought, something's got to change. Took it into my own hands, lost about 20 kilos in 3 months, which is ridiculous.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was not the right way, admittedly.
Yeah.
It was a lot of cardio, a lot of low calories. And then I got into the gym and I started educating myself on how I could become stronger, become fitter, just be my best self. And realistically, when I looked at it, nutrition was such a gateway, because people think, I can, work out and I'll get the body that I need. But you can't out-train a bad diet, and that's just the facts. I think everyone pretty much knows that these days, and they're trying to take control of their health and fitness and stuff like that. But a lot goes into it. It's taken me years to build up the wealth of knowledge I have. And I went in and did a nutrition course because I was a medical scientist for a while. So I love the background in science. And
you're a bit of a nerd. In the nicest possible way.
Yeah, so I was doing that and I thought, I've got a love for my health and my own fitness. How can I help other people? Got into nutrition and I did an accreditation for sports nutrition. Right. So that gives me a well-rounded view on your basic nutrition, but then I can also help athletes, I can help the general population. I can pretty much help anyone, and I can also do meal plans. I can go into calories and macros.
Do your friends hate going out with you because you're like, you shouldn't be eating that? That's no.
No, funnily enough, even the clients that I do have on board for nutrition, I sort of teach them the 80-20 rule and sort of pull the bullshit out from it and go, what is really 80-20? So, if someone's having a couple of Macca's meals a week, not the worst thing in the world, but it's
I love her.
Andrea.
But Bec said, it's okay.
It's more going into like what's in the foods that you're eating and thinking about, okay, well, how does that affect you afterwards? How is this going to affect your mindset? And like it goes so much deeper than just what you're putting in your body.
Yeah.
And just on that note, Bec, you said earlier that, you did that quick reduction. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people will go overboard like that.
Yeah.
Not to dwell on the negative, but what were some of the negative responses that your body gave to that?
I was super fatigued. I lost a lot of muscle mass. I was at the skinniest I've ever been. And I remember I started losing weight or wanting to lose weight because I wanted to be skinny. I'd never been skinny. And when I got there, I just wasn't satisfied with how I looked or how I felt.
Yes.
Like I was fatigued, I was undernourished, I was irritable. It was just not it. And when I got my bloods checked, it was showing like I was low in iron, I was low in vitamin B and like all the important things that you need. And I was lucky I didn't lose my period, but like it could have gone that way if I had have gone any longer in a deficit.
And I think that's great for people to hear and understand that it's, there's lots of fad diets, there's lots of quick ways to do that, but it's not sustainable.
No.
And it's not healthy at all.
No.
So, it's I think that people need to really hear that and understand that, there is a lot of hard work involved in doing this.
Yeah.
But it's something that is a real investment into your health and fitness and into your future, really.
Yeah, and I think because I've been all ends of the scale, tried every yo-yo diet under the sun, like I think I really help my clients with that because I can see which phase they're at and help them with where their mindset might be at to really turn it around.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's really important, when you are engaging someone, a professional, that they do have an understanding and an investment of kind, whether they've actually been through it or they just, can really identify with it. Because I think then your client will work hard for you there and understand that, and for themselves more importantly.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's such a big change and so much to learn. So I always try to put it in a way that they're learning what's in the foods that they're eating, but showing them that they can eat things in moderation. They can physically have chocolate every day if they wanted. I'm the sort of person at one stage I could eat a full block of chocolate and not think anything of it.
Andrea's eyes light up beside you there.
Full block. Did you hear that, Jules? A full block.
But I think what Bec is saying, that she does a lot of work to allow that.
She can earn it. Is what you're saying. I, however, no.
Yeah, like it takes so much dedication, time to learn what's in the foods, but then also like the mind power behind it and seeing yourself be like, okay, like I'm happy with 2 squares of chocolate. I can just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Like it takes so much time to build that up. And a lot of it, like
it is a resilience really, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the thing. People start with me and they think, oh, like I want to lose weight or I want to gain muscle and I'm just going to eat that way and that's how it's going to be forever. Yeah. But your makeup and your calories are always changing. Like what you need is only right in that moment. It's always ever changing.
Yes.
So on that, when we talk about diet and what people need, there's that crazy word that is often used with Excel spreadsheets, but also in fitness and nutrition, macros. And we have had a chat off the podcast about it. And how everybody's needs are so different.
Yeah.
And because everybody talks about protein, but like maybe protein's not the best thing for someone if they've got a different goal. Do you want to tell us about macros? Like what is macros and why is it so damn important?
Macros are basically your makeup of calories. Right. So they all have a caloric value. They all have different amounts of nutrients that your body needs basically to function. They all have different functions in the body and they're all super important. You find a lot of people when they're dieting, they'll cut carbs or they'll cut fats and protein's important, like you said.
Yeah.
But especially for women, like fats are demonized, whereas fats actually are for hormonal health. So it's like you need the right amount for yourself again at that time, at that point in time. And that's why it's important to have someone that knows what they're doing, that you're not just cutting out a food group. You've got obviously your macronutrients, which are your bigger scale things. Then you've got your micronutrients. So your micronutrients are more like your magnesiums, your phosphates, all that sort of stuff, the little nutrient-dense things that are going to help keep your body functioning. Yeah, less.
And it's super important
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Absolutely, super important. But in terms of like your caloric values and your makeup, that is it. Your macros are it. You've got 4 types of macros.
Yeah, I was going to say, so like fat, carbs, protein.
And alcohols.
Wow, I didn't know they factored in there.
Yeah.
No, again, no. Always with the no. Getting used to it.
Yeah, so they all have a value per gram. So you've got your carbs, which is 4 calories per gram. Then you've got your fats, which are 9 calories per gram. So they're a little bit higher. They're a little bit more dense.
But still important.
Yeah. Your protein is 4 calories as well per gram. And then alcohols are 7 calories per gram.
Ooh, naughty.
Yeah. So I think like a lot of people, when they're learning to track, they think, oh, alcohol, that's just carbs. No, like it has its own caloric value. And that's why it's super important to restrict that, because alcohols don't really do much for your body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I would imagine they do some damage to your body.
They do at the time.
Yeah.
They help your social life, but other than that, no. So, but are all alcohols the same or are they different?
They've all got different values,
Yep.
but they all run under the same umbrella.
Right.
So an alcohol is an alcohol regardless of what it is. Whereas in terms of your other foods, they can be made up of all different macros and different like amounts and ratios of macros.
Right.
And so obviously, depending on, the client that you have and what their goals are, you will set different levels for each of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like what I've spent time learning. It's what's going to work for other people. In terms of like your fats, as I said, your hormones are super important and that's something you want to keep in check. So you would want them on the higher scale. But if you've got an athlete coming into, say, a competition, they're going to drop those down because you eventually run out of things to get rid of.
Is it good and bad to go up or down or to make these shifts dramatically with your macros? Like, does that make a difference?
Realistically, if we're talking from a viewpoint of just wanting to get healthy, I would normally, for my clients, prioritize the calorie value itself.
Yep.
Protein, I would set out a target and be like, look, let's get within 10 grams of that target that I've given you. In terms of fats and carbs, I will give a target, but it's not so much important. Okay. It's like, it's a 1%er.
Yep.
It's more interchangeable. You're really wanting to focus on, I guess, calories in, calories out, and your protein, because your protein is going to keep you fuller for longer. It's going to help with recovery. It's going to help you build and maintain muscle.
Yep. So
Yeah.
when you say more or less like the calories, this word I keep seeing on social media is like calorie deficit.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that means? Like calorie deficit. So if we want to lose weight, we want to be in a calorie deficit?
Yeah. So basically your body has an amount of calories that it runs on. That's basically your maintenance.
Yep.
From there, if you're wanting to lose weight, you need to be in a deficit. You can do that through exercise and nutrition cohesively. You don't actually have to work out to lose weight. You could just put yourself in a deficit from your maintenance, which is obviously being lower than what your body is needing to function. Mm-hmm. In doing that, though, when you're working with someone like myself, we make sure that you're doing it sustainably and not in a way that's you're going to lose it all really quickly and you're going to have really bad health outcomes.
Because what do you like lose muscle and important things as well if you do it that way without sort of building muscle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even like I said, with my own health and fitness journey, I cut down my carbs, I cut down my fats. I was eating protein, but I had dropped myself to, look, if I am being honest, when I used to track, I dropped myself at one stage to around 1,300 calories, which is less than a 4-year-old should be consuming per day.
Girl.
Like,
And
very
people
low.
are very confused by, what should I be consuming? What level should I be setting that, that calorie?
So you would work that out for them,
Yeah.
Like their basic calorie requirements and then what they might need to drop tiny bit to lose the weight.
Yeah, so you basically use a calculator. It factors in, age, weight, height, gender, all that sort of stuff, and then what they do during the day in terms of exercise, their average step count. From there, I'm able to split up a macro split that would work best for them. And normally when I do that, I look into factors like what's their job? Are they sedentary? Do they like to work out?
Sit on my butt. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you need to factor in so many things. Like those apps like MyFitnessPal, they'll just give you a random thing and say, in this many weeks, you'll lose this much.
Yeah, it says if you were, because I've got it, and I track my stuff there, but it says, like, if you were to keep going like this today, you could be this much by this date.
But is it sustainable?
Yeah.
Is it healthy?
Yeah.
They're two huge things.
It doesn't say, you probably shouldn't have had the cheeseburger, you should have had something else. It doesn't say that.
Well, this is something that we were talking about, off air, which is that you can, verse quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And you can get your set amount of calories in per day in one meal or over the course of the whole day, controlled and, under advice. Yeah. And that's the healthy way, obviously, to sustain it and to keep going and then adjust it as you go along to reach those fitness goals.
So everybody's got different goals. What are some of the main goals that you would see that people would have? Obviously, weight loss would be one. It's a big one.
Yeah.
But on the opposite end of that, there's people who need to put on weight.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've obviously got your deficit. You've got your people who want to sit at maintenance. They don't want to do anything with their weight. They're quite comfortable. They maybe just want to, I guess, tone up is the word. Where
feel healthy and just kind of keep it all tight.
Yeah, but then you've got, like you said, the other end of the scale. You've got surplus, but there's two different ways to go about a surplus. A surplus, you could just be wanting to put on weight for health reasons, or you could be wanting to put on weight in, I guess, a build is the word, where you're building your calories in a sustainable way, slow and steady, to build muscle mass or lean muscle mass rather than accumulate fat. You want to mitigate that.
Right. Would that be more men you find generally that are looking to build muscle?
I don't think so these days. No,
it's changing, isn't it? Women want to be
very much
a little
so
stacked.
Yeah,
it's not just about being stacked. Even that tone, that muscle quality and definition come into that, where you don't have to be necessarily big and bulky.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said tone in quotation marks before, because the whole idea of toning, when someone comes to me and says, I want to tone up, it's like that is the act of going into a surplus and building muscle, but then going into a deficit to reveal the muscle. So the toning is kind of just a word for the two different phases. And you kind of, when you're into your health and fitness and like you're going through those phases, you'll do a decent phase in a build and you'll keep building. You'll spend more time in a build than you will in a deficit. And a lot of girls these days are wanting to build muscle. It's just, how do we do that?
So they build it first and then they tone it.
And
Build and refine.
At the moment, I will say that Bec is working with my son Eden, and we've been having a bit of a laugh. Eden is at the moment just coming out of a build, his first build.
Yeah.
I'm dying for Eden to go into what is known as the cut, asking Bec nearly every week. So when is he doing his cut? Predominantly because he is costing me an absolute fortune.
The food bill?
In food. And we were laughing too because, and this is more around the bodybuilding area, that Eden is Eden's not only costing me a fortune, but he has gone from, oh my gosh, I so am like can eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I keep saying to him, mate, you're going to have to get rid of that
Enjoy
soon.
it while you can.
Well, to the point where he's going, I really want to do this cut. I don't want to eat anymore.
And I said to Eden when he started working with me, I said, look, are you excited to go into a build? We can do a little cut first. And he said, no, I'm excited to build. And I said, mate, trust me, by the end of it, you'll be screaming for a deficit because you are force feeding yourself. And like, that's obviously another ball game. Like bodybuilding is a completely different story.
Yeah, and we're talking more along the professional lines there.
Yeah. But again, like that's all these different ballparks in terms of nutrition. Yeah. Like I wouldn't give Eden what I would give one of my 30-year-old women that I've got. Like we're completely different. And even then it's like, again, circling back to hormones and things like that, I wouldn't give the same amount of fats to Eden as I would to one of my 30-year-old females because we have different needs. And again, like that will change over time.
Especially women. I mean, we go through different hormonal stages.
Yeah.
Like I'm perimenopausal right now, very different from when I was younger. So
And that's why I think it's so important to seek out professional advice, someone who really knows what they're doing, that is, that can guide you. You don't necessarily have to stay with them ongoing, but it's so important to engage someone like Bec in your life to understand it, because it's a lot. And let's face it, for a lot of people, even this conversation is like, too much. I mean, it's too much. But if you hand it over, if you're really serious about it and you hand it over to a professional and say, help me here, it really does, they take away that complicated aspect of it where it does your head in. Some people it resonates with, I want to count it, I want to know it, I want to do it. And I think, as we've said before, then there's me, who was like...
Or me.
Yeah, who was like, that is kind of too much here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
Can you please just tell me what to do?
Yeah, in the easiest possible way.
And then it's done in a nice and healthy way.
Yeah.
Yeah, by people who know what they're doing. And we were having another conversation, the three of us, about, Bec's a qualified personal trainer, as am I, and but a personal trainer is not qualified to give you meal plans and extensive dietary
because of
advice.
her nutrition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's qualified in both areas.
Yeah.
And so that is super important too.
Yep.
To make sure that you're going to someone like Bec, who I might say too is just a few months, about 4 months away from doing her next body build.
Yeah.
Comp. Yeah.
Ooh, what's that? Tell us about the comp.
She's looking amazing. Are we able to show some photos of you?
Yeah, that's
so we'll share
fine.
some photos of you with, she's like,
Yeah, I know.
amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
While we're talking about photos, and if you want to follow Bec on Instagram, do that, because you will see some incredible pics.
Yes.
Tell them your Instagram handle, please, Bec.
It's at bec.hare, Hare.
She's so
Like
modest.
the
Wait till you
rabbit.
see it. She's absolutely stunner, and what she's doing is amazing. So we'll bring you updates on how she goes. We might even go to the comp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Let's do it. They'll
Yeah.
just feel like a fish
Really
out of water like I do
embarrass her.
everywhere. That'll be great.
We'll
But
be
I
up
am
there.
I'm a great cheerleader, Bec. So
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's what we
yeah.
love.
I've got a big voice. Don't you worry.
She'll be horrified. She'll send us to another venue.
Probably. All right, so macros, I'm really grateful that we've had this chat, because for me, it is all very, very confusing, but maybe Bec will help me work out a little situation where I don't have to feel so confused with my meals and what I'm doing. And when it comes to the two sides, I thought that was really interesting. Like you were saying, that there's people that want to sort of lose things, and then there's people that want to gain things. So there's those two sides to the story, and gender and activity and everything comes into play. So thank you for explaining all of that, because we see a diet or we see something on social media or on television and everyone just jumps on it. It may not be right for you in so many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like that whole, if it fits your macros, or that keto diet or the carnivore diet, it's like, it's going to be what works best for you. A diet is what's going to work best for you.
At the time.
At the time, it's like intermittent fasting and, all of these things. There's so many things. We've got lots to talk to you about over the coming months.
There's
Wow.
so many questions. I think covering some of those things, helping people, with food hacks, I think you and I were talking about. So Bec's got lots of ideas around things. So we would love to have you back to sort of help people. However, as I said, don't take it into your own hands. Seek professional advice. And if you've got any questions for Bec, send them in. Let's hear them.
Absolutely. Jump onto our social pages, send us an inbox or whatever, or you maybe can message Bec direct. Now you have an Instagram handle, but we would love to be able to answer any questions with Bec that you have around nutrition, because it's probably a question that somebody else has as well. So it'll be useful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Now,
No,
Bec,
thank
before you go,
Yes.
if there was one thing,
Andrea's been dying to ask you this question.
asking for a friend, if there was one thing that you could give me as a piece of advice to try and get myself healthier on the road to losing weight and healthier, I keep underlying healthy, what would it be? What should I start doing?
I would always say to start with either keeping a food diary or tracking your food. So
Started. Yay, I'm on track.
So with those tracking apps, like it's not the be all end all. Sometimes people don't like to get into the nitty gritty of it. So that's why a food diary is great. It just sort of gives you a plain outline of the food you have been consuming. And then from there we can make tweaks. We can sort of look at, where we can optimize. And you'll also find without meaning to, you start eating healthier because you're actually physically writing it down for someone to see.
And someone's going to look at it and go, you did not eat that in one day. Yes.
And I think too, that doesn't mean that they have to do that for the rest of their lives, does it?
No, not at all. Like a lot of the time I will educate people towards not tracking at all and just intuitively eating. But I think it's a real skill and it's quite helpful to have when you start to start tracking or looking at what you're eating just so that you can get an idea of what you are consuming in your day and where you can optimize.
And so you can look at it and go, hey, did you know that particular food? Because some people have the wrong ideas about food and what they think they're eating is healthy. And it's not, like a muesli bar. Oh, no, they could be the worst things in the world. From
sugar,
what I'm told.
all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a really good tip. And I am on that MyFitness app and it's got a great little barcode scanner and it just puts it in nice and easy. So tick for me, Jules. Did I get a tick?
Yes, and we'll make sure that you have done that so that we can present Bec with that. Yes. And we'll have a look at it.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I've been pretty honest too, so.
You've been too scared to go through drive-through, you're telling me.
I know, I bought sushi rolls instead of a cheeseburger.
I love it. Good for you.
Step forward.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Bec. We look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How good was talking with Bec?
Oh, she's fabulous, and I can't wait to extract more of her knowledge.
That's one way to put it. But yeah, there's so much more, detail that we can go into there, and I think with that life experience behind her.
Yeah, and if people have questions, as we said, please let us know and we can put them to Bec and have a chat in one of our chats with her.
Yeah. And coming up next week, we have got a new What's the Gym? Well, in fact, we've got two.
What the gym? What the gym?
What the Gym? Double.
Two. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So please make sure you join us for that. We're also going to be talking to a nutrition supplement expert. Is that how we call them?
Well, we can call him that, yes.
Yeah.
He certainly knows his stuff. And I think I want to shine the spotlight on protein, not just for, muscle building, lots of different types. And we can talk through both the science and the necessity for it.
The who, the what, the why, all that stuff.
Indeed.
And we're going to stop talking about my fitness journey for one show and instead talk about yours.
Yay!
I mean, you're well and truly on your journey, but we are going to have a day in the life of Julie Saunders, and I cannot wait. What are you doing? What are you eating? What are you training? What are you doing? Lifting? What are you doing? Yeah. I don't know. How do you talk to gym people? I don't know.
Yeah. Not like that.
Not like that.
Yeah, so we'll have a look at, what some of my day looks like as far as, from nutrition to training to just the general chaos of
chaos
life.
That is Julie's life. She's a busy lady. But we look forward to that. And please make sure you're following us on socials because we will drop a few little bonus things on there from your day. She's going to do some selfies and vids.
I hate doing that. Don't like the word hate, but that's pretty
She's going to do a great job. I feel it in me waters, Jules.
Okay.
All right, so 2 weeks' time, let's make a date. We'll see you back here.
See you then.